Tonight, deal or no deal?
So we'll continue to make the point and keep telling them that we're ready at the table.
How willing are the Americans to walk away from free trade? Plus, the rules were followed.
Our animal research is compliant with all ethical, professional, and regulatory standards.
Details from several investigations into dog research at St. Joe's Healthcare.
These experiments never should have been conducted in the first place.
And a bumpy bus ride.
First we hit forwards against the seat, and then everybody goes to the right side of the bus.
School bus safety concerns after a crash near Woodstock.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the growing consensus among Canadian decision makers. A full North American trade agreement renewal looks increasingly unlikely. A trade mission to Mexico is wrapping up where shared priorities were identified. But as Mike Lecouture reports, it doesn't look like those are shared by the Americans.
It's about time that we are less reliant and more resilient.
Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne believes Canadians understand the reality of the situation. While President Donald Trump continues to say he could walk away from CUSMA, the New York Times is reporting 2 Canadian officials involved in trade discussions say expectations for a full renewal of the deal are very low. Still, the minister isn't ready to give up hope yet.
So we'll continue to make the point and keep telling them that we're ready at the table whenever the parties want to review CUSMA.
Now, it comes as the minister overseeing trade with the U.S. just wrapped up a trade mission to Mexico.
There's no division as between the interest of Mexico and Canada in committing ourselves to the trilateral trade agreement.
This trade expert believes threats from the White House are part of the negotiation, but Canada needs to continue making a case for CUSMA.
To members of Congress, to state governments, to U.S. business, to underscore how important this agreement is to the United States.
Now, there is a sense of urgency to end the trade war with the U.S. According to Statistics Canada, this country's trade deficit grew to $31.3 billion last year, the largest since the COVID-19 pandemic. Overall exports are down slightly, but the Canadian economy is slowly shifting away from the U.S., with 5.8% fewer exports going south. And exports to countries excluding the U.S. rose by 17.2% in 2025.
We have what the world wants, whether it's gone from critical mineral, from energy, from natural resources.
The finance minister adds while Canada wants to work with the U.S., there are other trading opportunities out there. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
OPP say one person was killed in a crash near Milverton last night. According to police, it happened just after 7 p.m. on Perth Line 72 between Road 147 and Road 136. They say a 19-year-old woman from Atwood was pronounced dead at the scene, and 2 others were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A local parent is sharing her concern after her son was among several kids tossed around a school bus yesterday when it crashed into a ditch. About 40 elementary students were on board, raising questions for parents about safety protocols. Jerry Dewan reports.
13-year-old Grayson Landry was one of the East Oxford Central Public School students in a Lang school bus as it swerved on an icy road on Wednesday morning.
She went to one side of the road to the next, then back, and then into the ditch pretty hard.
But the rough ride wasn't done there.
First we hit forwards against the seat, and then everybody goes to the right side of the bus.
Landry immediately noticed injuries to students sitting near him.
One that had a cut on his palm and one that had a cut on his head.
Grayson called his parents. They arrived on scene shortly after and captured these images.
He must have hung up and called me back 4 or 5 times. He said, "Be careful, Mom, be careful, Mom. It's slippery. People are falling."
Another student directed Grayson to open the rear emergency door, and he did. Still, he was worried about the extent of the injuries to students on the bus.
If I'm looking to my right and I see 2 kids that are hurt out of 4, I don't know how many kids are going to be hurt up at the front, especially if they're little or standing up or whatever.
Megan Landry is still unsure if buses should have been running. On Tuesday evening, police and others began warning of possible freezing rain. In this case, the stretch of gravel road where the bus went into the ditch was particularly slick.
Which was just past the four-way stop where the pavement turns to gravel. And it was just an ice rink out there.
The Landry say they're hoping to have a discussion with officials from Langs about this incident and about how decisions are made when it comes to driving in extreme weather.
Maybe there'd be some more criteria in place for, in particular, the rural roads in the country roads that they're assessed prior to the buses being dispatched in the morning, just so everybody's kept safe.
My Big Yellow Bus is a nonprofit transportation consortium for the London District Catholic School Board and the Thames Valley District School Board. According to their website, individual bus companies decide whether or not to run. That decision is made by 6:30 a.m. to ensure caregivers and students have the information they need. Landry says Catholic board buses did not run on Wednesday morning. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
Good evening. Calmer conditions across the region today, but still icy in some parts. As we moved into the afternoon, temperatures above freezing, and that's where we'll stay overnight. Temperatures anywhere from 2 to +4. Expecting that to hold. So London will even come up to 3 degrees. We've had a few scattered showers today and even some isolated thunderstorms. I know many people commenting on the thunderstorms that moved through last night. The one that developed in Michigan at 6 o'clock held together and pushed right into London, Middlesex, and even Huron County. So we have had some rumbles of thunder. There have been reports of hail with some of these thunderstorms. So we'll leave in the risk for that over the next couple of hours, and then overnight, overcast with just a chance for showers. We have rain in the forecast as we head into your Friday morning, but mild temperatures as we push through the overnight. Winds continuing out of the east. Coming up, a wet Friday on the way, followed by some colder temperatures Friday night, which will lead to a changeover to flurries. I'll take you through that forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. London firefighters were called to a South London industrial park this morning for a downed power line. According to first responders, a utility pole was found leaning around 10:30 a.m. near a truck yard on Shamrock Road. Hydro workers were called to clear the wires from the roadway, and no injuries were reported. St. Joseph's healthcare officials made a series of independent reviews public today, looking into their animal research practices. The findings indicate no animal care standards were violated in their experiments involving dogs. However, animal rights advocates say those reviews missed the larger ethical questions raised. Rita Ismail reports.
A special assessment into dog-based cardiac research at St. Joseph's Healthcare in London has cleared the program of animal welfare breaches.
The review found that our animal research is compliant with all ethical, professional, and regulatory standards. It also looked at whether the research we were doing on dogs was scientifically justified and valid, and the answer to that was yes.
The third-party report follows an independent review by Western University's Animal Care Committee and the Canadian Council on Animal Care last fall. Investigators reviewed records, conducted site visits, and interviewed staff. They concluded the dogs had appropriate bedding, enrichment toys, and socialization programs. But while the report cleared the research team of wrongdoing, it also found communication failures.
The review also had a couple of recommendations for us. One was to say, although you weren't doing it secretively, could you have been more transparent about the work that you were doing to the general public? And the recommendation was yes, we could be more transparent about that work going forward.
The research program has since been halted, and the remaining dogs have been transferred for adoption. However, animal rights organization Animal Justice says the reviews focused on the wrong issue.
Nobody has ever alleged that this case was problematic because they didn't follow the rules. And in fact, Animal Justice didn't even file a legal complaint with authorities because we didn't believe any laws were broken. The issue that I think the rest of the public in Ontario came to agree with us on was that these experiments never should have been conducted in the first place.
The head of Western's Animal Care Clinic, Arthur Brown, says he understands the outrage over the use of dogs in research, but stresses the importance of the work.
I can't imagine a person who wouldn't feel bad for the dogs. But at the same point, you have to also recognize that stopping the research also has the ethical consequence of perhaps slowing down the research and thereby increasing human suffering.
Proposed provincial legislation is now being discussed that would ban certain experiments on dogs and cats. St. Joseph says it is working to improve transparency moving forward. The two recommendations outlined in the review must be addressed by February of next year. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
More fallout today from a contentious planning committee meeting at London City Hall. Councillor David Ferreira is not backing down from his comment about campaign donations prior to the committee's decision to support a controversial high-rise proposal. With the latest, here's Daryl Newcomb.
This frustration is real. I want to see good planning. I want to see good governance.
Councillor David Ferreira is still baffled by the Planning Committee's recommendation to approve a 30-story high-rise at Rideout in Kent, despite a staff report recommending refusal because it's too tall for the North Talbot neighbourhood. And Ferreira still stands behind his comment about campaign donations and committee members.
We're discussing the money and the DCs and the tax revenue generation and the campaign donations that might come out of that too.
I'm allowed to state my opinion without fear of someone attacking my character.
Do you regret saying that? No, I was just speaking to what everybody was thinking.
Do you think that there is inappropriate levels of influence by lobbyists at City Hall?
Potentially.
Councillor Lehman maintains his motion to approve the high-rise stemmed from his support for downtown intensification, not lobbying.
In the downtown boundary, we're allowed 45 stories. This is across the street from the boundary.
The president of York Developments, Ali Soufan, sent this letter to the planning committee that's posted on the public agenda, arguing for his high-rise proposal. In 2022, Soufan made a $1,200 donation to Lehman's re-election campaign.
I could never let that influence my decision. In fact, in the past, I've voted against applications that have been supporters of mine, as do other councillors.
It was back in October of 2023 that Councillor Ferreira, along with Councillor Schuyler Frank, brought forward a motion requesting council create a so-called lobbyist registry.
We need to add these layers and levels of oversight.
The motion was defeated, with some opponents arguing the administrative costs would be too high.
When it comes to transparency, I think a lobby registry would potentially help. When it comes to accountability, I think that would also help as well.
We meet with people all the time, and if I was to keep track of my interactions with businesses, with people I meet in the grocery stores, I have meetings all the time here on applications or on things that people want to see done.
Council will make a final decision about the high-rise March 3rd. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
London's parking policies might be adjusted to address a shortage in some new residential developments.
Why do we have all these pressures for parking? Because our transit system is inadequate.
Council removed minimum parking standards a couple of years ago, but some developers say they underestimated demand. There's also concern creating additional rental units within existing homes means wider driveways will be necessary. The Planning Committee directed staff to develop bylaws to relax driveway rules and reestablish minimum parking requirements.
We tried something, and it didn't quite work out as planned. And I think it's okay to step back, and sometimes the way to address a problem is to go back to what we were doing before.
London police officials say their open-air drug use strategy is making a meaningful difference. With more on the police data, here's Lawrence Stallone.
The London Police Service Board held their monthly meeting today, an update on the open-air drug use strategy at the forefront of the conversation.
Officers have interacted with over 1,025 unique individuals, and more than half of these individuals have had multiple interactions, reflecting the reoccurring nature of open-air substance use challenges in certain areas.
The strategy launched in April of 2025 to address concerns of open-air substance use in public spaces. Since then, data has been collected to determine the effectiveness of the strategy.
The data I'll be referring to today will cover the period from April 8th, 2025 through January 19th, 2026.
Researchers say major findings include business owners feel safer and more supported, and there have been fewer complaints of open-air drug consumption since the strategy's implementation.
The average level of agreement with the statement, "My employees have expressed safety concerns relating to the location of the business," dropped from 4.40 to 3.37.
London police say high visibility patrols, engagement efforts, and coordination with community supports have made a significant difference.
These changes, while incremental, are meaningful as they demonstrate that the strategy is contributing to measurable improvements in satisfaction with police presence.
Some board members expressed concerns regarding if seasonality played a factor in the findings, with fewer people on the streets during the winter months.
We see that because of the winter months, there's less contact. The intention is to run this through and make sure that we conduct phase 2 appropriately.
London police say phase 2 will include data collection conducted from majority of summer months as opposed to winter months to ensure a fulsome update. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
A manslaughter trial in London heard testimony today surrounding the cause of death for a young mother 3 years ago. The court has heard 34-year-old Jordan Colley sold cocaine to the victim and her spouse in May 2023. Christina Bestward ended up dying after consuming the drugs. A toxicologist testified today saying Bestward had 11 nanograms of fentanyl in her system. The court heard the cause of death was multi-drug toxicity. Colley has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and criminal negligence causing bodily harm. Closing arguments are expected next week. The former Prince Andrew was arrested today, facing a charge of serious misconduct. He's accused of sharing sensitive information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while he was a special British trade envoy. With more on the investigation and its royal implications, here's Abigail Beeman.
Police stand outside Sandringham Estate, home to former Prince Andrew, later seen leaving a police station in this vehicle. The arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office comes after police said they were looking into allegations Mountbatten Windsor had passed on documents to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while he was working as a trade envoy.
It truly is a seismic moment for this country, and I think for the monarchy as well.
Sir, what's your reaction to your brother's arrest?
King Charles wasn't answering questions Thursday about his little brother, but released a statement saying he learned the news with the deepest concern and the law must take its course. Mountbatten Windsor spent a decade as trade envoy. He made about a dozen visits to Canada in that period. Emails released in the Epstein files suggest he shared UK government reports in 2010. Mountbatten Windsor has always denied wrongdoing.
Whether those details that were passed on by Andrew to Epstein were all part of his job and part of his responsibilities, well, that's an open question. However, the official guidance for trade envoys was that they have a duty of confidentiality.
The family of Virginia Giuffre says the arrest is a win for Epstein victims. She died by suicide in May and in 2022 settled a lawsuit accusing the former prince of sexually abusing her as a teenager.
I think we're very hopeful that this is the start of the domino effect. This is where the house of cards starts falling.
Police released a short statement after the former prince was seen leaving the police station, saying he was released under investigation with some police searches of royal property still underway. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Elementary students in Bruce County are reaching out to one of the biggest names in hockey, sharing a message of teamwork and community. And with more on their campaign and what they hope to accomplish, here's Scott Miller.
Mrs. Gordon's grade 2-3 class at Tara Aaron Elementary School are recording their latest Instagram reel. The group of 7- and 8-year-olds are trying to get Toronto Maple Leaf captain Austin Matthews to like, share, or comment on videos focusing on teamwork and community.
We're trying to get him, Austin Matthews, to reply, and because he's a really good person, he goes to visit sick kids' hospitals.
Mrs. Gordon's class plans on making 34 videos in honor of his jersey number to try and get Matthews' attention. They're currently on reel number 25.
Because he does a lot of good things for his community. We're doing it because Austin Matthews is a great person, and he helps out his community.
Last October, as part of a national project about food insecurity, Mrs. Gordon's class collected food for the Tara and Area Food Bank. For their efforts, the class got their very own highway billboard promoting food donations for the less fortunate. That led to a Giving Loonie project where kids were expected to do something good and kind with a loonie over the Christmas holidays. And in January, the Austin Matthews project began, reaching out to the Maple Leaf Star to try and spread their message of teamwork even further.
Just getting the message across that one person can make a difference, but when many people come together, we can make big things happen.
Give me an M. Give me an A.
So far, their daily Instagram reels haven't received a response from Matthews. He is kind of busy in Italy right now, but Mrs. Gordon's students hope after the Olympics, Matthews might just drop them a virtual thumbs up.
It would mean a lot to us. It would be really awesome. We believe in teamwork.
In Tara, Scott Miller, CTV News.
When we come back, settling for silver. Canada's women's hockey team falls in heartbreaking fashion to the Americans.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. More overtime drama at the Olympics today, but this time Canada did not come out on top. Our women's hockey team took the heavily favored Americans to overtime in the gold medal game, but couldn't find a winning goal of their own. With more, here's Scott Hurst.
Team USA is the Olympic champion in women's hockey. It is a devastating loss for the Canadian women, who are looking to end a 7-game losing streak to their rivals. Canada will still leave Milano Cortina with a silver medal. The win for the Americans puts them back on top of the podium after losing the gold medal match to Canada at the Beijing Games 4 years ago.
It's so enormous, the Olympic Games, right? Every shift, every period.
Heading into the game, fans on both sides were ready to witness another chapter in this bitter rivalry, and it was Canada who allowed their fans to believe first. No goals in the opening frame, but very early in the second period, the red and white opened the scoring, while Team USA was on the power play. 27-year-old Kristen O'Neill from Oakville, Ontario, put Canada in the lead with the shorthanded goal, only the second goal Team USA had allowed all tournament. But late in the third, with just over 2 minutes to go, the USA finally broke through. America's captain Hillary Knight with the equalizer, and it would stay tied through the end of regulation. In overtime, it was Megan Keller for the Americans with the golden goal. Despite the loss for Canada, this rivalry continues to push the women's game to new heights.
These women are great athletes. They train hard, they prepare hard, they love the game, they have a passion for it.
With Canada's latest silver, it boosts our overall medal count to 15 with more podium opportunities on Friday. However, much of the attention will be back on hockey, a semi-final versus Finland. The Canadian men will get the chance to punch their ticket to the gold medal game. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
President Donald Trump held his first Board of Peace meeting today with world leaders focusing on rebuilding Gaza as American warplanes and aircraft carriers are headed to Iran. With more on today's discussions, here's Joy Malvin.
The president calls this his crowning achievement in the newly named Donald J. Trump U.S. Institute of Peace, convening his first Board of Peace. With representatives from 40 nations, $7 billion was pledged towards rebuilding war-torn Gaza, just a fraction of what's needed.
Rafah fully rebuilt.
Showing a video of what Gaza could become, Hamas still has not disarmed, and Israel continues to strike during this fragile ceasefire.
Peace. It's called the Board of Peace, and it's all about an easy word to say, but a hard word to produce, peace.
But the president's talk of peace being overshadowed as the U.S. readies for possible war with Iran. Flight tracking shows a massive U.S. war machine is taking shape in the Middle East. Hundreds of jet fighters and warships sent to the region. The president, who promised no more foreign wars, prepared to strike, he says, unless Iran ends its nuclear ambitions.
Now is the time for Iran to join us. They cannot continue to threaten the stability of the entire region, and they must make a deal. Or if that doesn't happen, I maybe can understand. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But bad things will happen.
After Trump claimed in June that Operation Hammer obliterated Iran's nuclear abilities, Trump has hinted at regime change. And after Iran's deadly crackdown on protesters, the president promised help was on the way. Showing military drills on state TV, Iran warns that any U.S. attack would trigger retaliation like never before. The president says he's giving negotiations in Geneva a chance, but set a timeline, giving Tehran the next 10 to 15 days to make a deal. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Julie's on the desk with me now for a look at the forecast, and we were talking off air about just how maybe unexpected even the intensity of last night's storm was. A lightning show and lots of ice covering everything.
Absolutely. It was interesting watching it develop on the radar and the forecast model showing that storm, and I thought there's no way this is going to hold together, and it showed it almost turning pink, which is what's indicated by freezing temperatures, so it just went instantly pink. And really that's what happened in the area. We went into this storm and it dumped hail and freezing conditions. So these storms that moved through associated with that warm air, we had a lot of lift, and that storm action just popped up and held together, which is surprising for this time of year. Normally you'll see a storm like that. They're quite rare, but if they do develop, they don't last too long. And these ones were able to hold together and bring a bit of a light show and some icy conditions. Today, temperatures anywhere from -2 to +3, and overnight we're not going to see a drop off. We stay on the mild side, Carlyle, well above the freezing mark in most areas. Skies will be cloudy overnight. We do have the chance for some very light rainfall, and we have some fog in the forecast overnight. Now the main rain will come in tomorrow as the low pressure area approaches. The temperatures will start to come up overnight, so this will be just after midnight. By tomorrow morning we'll be at 4 or 5 degrees. Satellite radar is showing you the weather system that's been with us. We've had a stationary boundary just waving its way south, but becoming a warm front tonight, and it will continue to lift to the north, keeping us in that warm sector. Low pressure system will follow tomorrow, and we have rain on the way. You can see it indicated on the forecast model. So we have rain. This will be a snow system once again for parts of eastern Ontario, bringing heavy accumulation after the heavier snow they experienced yesterday. London has gotten off quite easy with this system. Couple systems bringing rainfall, not the icy mix that we have seen areas to the northeast. You can see Toronto will be into rain, possibility of thunderstorms tomorrow morning, and then on the northern flank of that, the snow. We'll experience the rain through the day on Friday. The temperature will drop off Friday evening, transitioning us to some snowfall Friday night. And then heading into Saturday, skies will be mainly cloudy, slight risk for flurries, but we should see some peaks of sunshine. Now the temperature will quickly warm to about 5 degrees at noon hour. The rain comes to an end. Winds picking up out of the east, gusting upwards of 60 kilometers per hour. The temperature drops down to 2 degrees Friday afternoon, and then we fall down to the freezing mark. So that 5 degrees likely around noon hour. Mainly cloudy on Saturday. Could see a light flurry, although the probability on the lower end. Flurries in the forecast on Sunday at the freezing mark, -2 with flurries on Monday. And then back into a mix of sun and cloud on Tuesday. The next big weather system coming in Wednesday with a chance of a rain-snow mix, the high +2. So weather story for tomorrow will be rainfall across the region, transitioning to snow heading into the evening. So flurries expected. Temperatures drop below freezing, so watch for icy conditions heading out the door if you are doing some traveling over the weekend. Saturday we have flurries in the forecast at the freezing mark on Sunday, and cloudy, and a mix of sun and cloud on Monday. A cold start to the week with daytime highs anywhere from -5 to -6. So So once again, we have had a few thunderstorms, Carlyle, in the last few hours in and around Lambton County towards Chatham-Kent, even reports of hail. So we'll leave in that risk for the next few hours, but then skies go cloudy overnight and then the rain moving in before sunrise heading into Friday.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Coming up, what to expect after London's Nestle ice cream facility is sold to the owners of Häagen-Dazs.
You got one more shot to win some Dallas Smith tickets before tickets go on sale. Make sure you're listening at 8:35 tomorrow morning. And Pricetown 710, another $100 OLG voucher. Good luck.
London's building boom generated $20 million in new property tax for 2026, and city officials say they already know what to spend that money on. Assessment growth is the total amount of property tax collected on new residential and commercial construction. This year, about $15 million will be used to expand municipal services, including hiring more police officers, adding more transit service, and life cycle renewal projects. The remaining $5 million will offset some debt and reduce the infrastructure gap. Change is coming for one of London's largest food producers. Nestle officials say they're selling their ice cream business, including their South London facility. With more on what happens next, here's Brian Bicknell.
It's an unknown future for this London, Ontario ice cream plant.
For Nestle, we're not exiting the ice cream category. We're just utilizing a different business model.
Nestle announced Thursday it has entered into advanced negotiations to sell the remainder of its ice cream business to Frenary, the ice cream-focused joint venture it created in 2016 with buyout firm PAI Partners. The sale includes the Canadian market and the London plant.
Produces amazing products. It's a factory of very dedicated, talented people, and they will continue to do what they have been doing, understanding that we're having a little uncertainty at the moment, but hopefully that will be clarified quickly in the future.
According to the Teamsters Union, there are between 600 and at peak season 800 unionized employees at the London plant. Currently, they have 2 years left in a collective agreement. Union leadership says right now their goal is to protect those jobs. Business representative Gary Bast says not knowing what's in store is the hardest part.
Are they going to reduce manpower? Are they going to increase manpower? It's all unknown. That plant is a good mid-class job. Like, those guys make good wages. Most of them are from the community of London. We're in the same boat as everybody else. We just don't know what's going to happen.
It was less than 5 years ago Premier Doug Ford was on hand as the company announced a $41 million expansion at the plant.
That's not pennies in a bucket. It's a huge investment.
In the meantime, one food industry expert says the change in ownership is not necessarily bad news. Sylvain Charlebois says the London operation being at the heart of a food processing cluster bodes well for the plant.
Food companies tend to stick around and help each other out. That's really how the agribusiness world works. You can't think of a plant as a standalone entity. It needs a network of ingredients, of knowledge to support it. And London actually has that.
Nestle says the transition to the new owner will take 12 to 18 months. During that time, it will be business as usual. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
General Motors officials are pledging new investments in their Oshawa assembly plant a few weeks after cutting the third shift there. About 500 people were directly laid off at GM, while several hundred more positions were slashed at third-party suppliers connected to the shift. They now say they're spending $63 million to upgrade stamping operations at the Oshawa plant. The company has been pulling back Canadian production amid U.S. tariffs on the auto sector and dwindling political support for electric vehicles. Canada's main stock index was up as the price of oil climbed. The TSX gained 205 points. In New York, the Dow fell 267. The Nasdaq dropped 71. Canadian dollar down 1/10 cent. On commodity markets, gold lost $12 an ounce. Oil gained $1.35 a barrel. Later on CTV News, the 11-year-old girl and her mission to raise $50,000, supporting a classmate battling cancer. Welcome back. Federal New Democrats are holding a second and final leadership debate tonight in British Columbia. 5 candidates are facing off less than 3 weeks out from the vote. Rachel Aiello reports.
In a tight race that struggled to resonate beyond New Democrat supporters, the stakes are high for the candidates debating, but also for the party, as it looks to demonstrate to Canadians its viability in the wake of a disastrous outcome for the NDP in the last election.
Party members know that a leader is not going to go from the position that we're in now to instant success. There's going to have to be a building process.
Facing off are Avi Lewis, Heather McPherson, Rob Ashton, Tennille Johnston, and Tony McQuail. And while the majority of the debate will be in English, after they struggled in French,
Langue français et le Québec.
The party will be giving candidates a short second chance tonight. Expect questions on the economy, sovereignty, energy, and government cuts.
What I'm hoping to hear tonight from the people who are really leading in this race are some different aspects, some different points, and how they would make themselves a leader that could potentially rebuild this party from the current 7 seats they have into something that could be viable in the next election campaign.
NDP insiders say while Lewis appears to have the momentum based on his fundraising numbers and digital presence, it could come down to who mobilizes the most members and motivates them to vote.
Who can land those key clips, who can project a vision for members, that's going to be critical in how the vote plays out.
After tonight's debate, the candidates will be going all in on getting out the vote. The months-long search for the permanent replacement to Jagmeet Singh ends next month. The winner will be crowned at the party's convention in Winnipeg. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, New Westminster, BC.
Owen Sound police say a pedestrian was killed by a driver earlier this week. They say someone driving a pickup truck hit a female Tuesday night who was rushed to hospital but did not survive. They say the victim's name will not be released. London police are asking for help finding a driver they say hit a pedestrian in a parking lot Sunday night near Oxford and Gamage. They say the man who was hit was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the driver who hit him fled the scene.
It's time for your London list. This is a rundown of events going on this weekend. We're joined by Weaver from Afternoons on Pure Country. What's happening Friday night? I know lots of hockey lovers have been pretty jazzed about the London Knights lately.
Absolutely. On Family Day, they clinched a spot in the playoffs, and now it's all just gravy. We get to enjoy the team as they march toward the ultimate goal of the season. So Friday night, we're going to be dancing. I know you love it. And we're going to be at Canada Life Place.
There is a show Friday night as well, and this guy's a little bit of a hometown favorite. Lots of people know him and love him.
Absolutely. Josh Ross, Friday night, Centennial Hall, downtown London. This is going to be a blast. Josh used to be a resident here in the Forest City. He would play bars around town. He was, for a brief moment, on the Western Mustangs football team. This is kind of a homecoming after he went down to the States and got himself a #1 single. Sold out. It is going to be a party.
All right. And the London Public Library, perhaps not as much of a party, but the Heritage Fair. Tell us about that.
Anything's a party if you make it that way. And we are celebrating Heritage Week here in the City of London. The London Heritage Council is having their party, as you said, at the London Public Library, and everybody is welcome.
What's happening at London Music Hall Saturday night?
Okay, back to parties.
Back to parties.
April Wine is in town, and if you've ever seen them before, you know they do a great job on stage, so London fans can show up and expect a great time.
And it's all about the music with you. I feel like there's even another band playing this weekend.
Yeah, so Sunday night, Big Sugar. London Music Hall, always a great time. Grab your tickets before they're gone.
And if you don't make it to the Knights game on Friday, you have another opportunity on Sunday.
Backup opportunity is right. They're going to be facing the Sudbury Wolves, and that's a 2 o'clock start in downtown London.
That's a great way to spend the afternoon, and you can even grab dinner in the downtown core as you head out of the game. Thank you so much, Weaver. That's the London list, and we'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on On CTV News, semi-final Friday. Canada take on Finland in men's hockey with a spot in the Olympic gold medal game on the line. That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Let's go Canada. Check out the staff at Roberts Equipment in Chesley. They are showing their support of the Canadian Olympic team. I love it. Go Canada. Rain in the forecast as we head overnight into your Friday and mild temperatures on the way. Snow will mix back in over the weekend with flurries in the forecast and temperatures drop on Monday.
The federal government has unveiled new measures meant to protect Canadians from extortion. Officials say they want to give police the tools to better detect and disrupt offenders. Adrian Gabriel reports.
A jarring scene that's been playing out across the country, from Brampton, Ontario to Surrey, BC.
For too many people, extortion is not an abstract concept anymore.
The federal government announcing that FinTrack will embed with local Canadian law enforcement as they try and work together to fight violent extortions.
When we follow the money, we expose the networks behind these crimes. We identify those which are responsible.
For more than 2 years, homes and businesses predominantly owned by members of the South Asian community have been targeted. The individuals behind this shooting in Brampton last month recorded themselves, then sent the homeowner this video, demanding $500,000. Last year, police in Surrey, BC were made aware of 133 reported extortion attempts. In Calgary, there was another 17. In Peel region west of Toronto, police were notified of 476 incidents, with many more believed to be going unreported. Over the last 2 years, CTV News has been investigating multiple violent extortion attempts from coast to coast. We've spoken with some Indo-Canadians so fearful for their lives, they began wearing bulletproof vests before leaving their homes.
Are you wearing one right now?
Yes, I do.
Can we see it?
Yes.
In February 2024, CTV News spoke with an individual who claimed he'd carried out multiple extortions while taking orders from an organized crime leader in India.
How many targets have you hit? How many homes? How many businesses?
In Canada, like around, I think 30 or 35, 40.
The federal Conservatives say the government's announcement today will do little to keep Canadians safe, with public safety critic Frank Caputo sharing his belief that criminals don't comply with regulations and they will find a new way to launder their crime money unopposed by weak Liberal laws. The federal government says that private financial institutions will also be helping track down the money trail. Previously, the RCMP has linked the Lawrence Bishnoi gang out of India with extortions in BC, Alberta, and here in Ontario.
Adrian Gabriel, CTV News.
U.S. Democrats are pushing for more details on a reported meeting between the owner of the Ambassador Bridge and a top White House official. Last week, President Donald Trump ranted on social media saying he would stop the Gordie Howe International Bridge from opening unless the U.S. is compensated for everything he says the country has given Canada. That's despite the fact the Canadian government paid for the entire construction cost. Democrats say Trump's post came shortly after his Commerce Secretary met with the owner of the Ambassador Bridge, who is a major Republican donor. New analysis from J.P. Morgan Chase shows tariffs paid by mid-sized U.S. businesses tripled last year, despite Trump administration claims of foreigners covering these costs. According to the report, these mid-sized companies account for 48 million workers in the U.S. and have had to find ways to absorb the tariffs by either passing the cost to customers, employing fewer workers, or accepting lower profits. The research doesn't say how additional costs are affecting the economy, but it does indicate U.S. firms are paying for the tariffs. Former South Korea President Yoon Suk-yeol has been sentenced to life in prison. Yoon was found guilty of rebellion for mobilizing military and police forces. He declared martial law as part of an attempted insurrection in late 2024. The decree lasted 6 hours before lawmakers broke through a military barricade and voted to lift the measure. Yoon was impeached and suspended from office and has been under house arrest since last July.
Weekend Spotlight airs Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. right here. We want you to join us. This week, we're going to find out about a letter subscription company. Also, a great event at Bowler Mountain, February 27th, called Slopes for Hope, a fundraiser for Children's Health Foundation, and Digital Extremes, the creator of the amazingly popular Warframe game. They'll be popping in too. See you Saturday morning.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, a young girl in Eastern Ontario and her ambitious goal. She's trying to raise $50,000 supporting children with cancer. Peter Sperling has more on her efforts and the national attention she's attracting.
Same rules. Brooke Milo is an 11-year-old Ottawa girl with an inspiring $50,000 goal.
I'm raising money for kids that are fighting cancer right now.
Already nearing the halfway mark, she has raised more than $22,000.
Well, I've had lots of bake sales and fundraisers.
And for her, the inspiration is personal. Motivated to give after watching her grandfather donate his hair as part of a fundraiser years ago. Since then, she has donated her hair 3 times.
About to here, and then I cut it and it was like to there.
She has a new motivation now after learning a classmate was diagnosed with cancer.
Well, I was very sad and I wanted to help him.
Everyone, please welcome Brooke to the show!
The ambitious efforts aren't going unnoticed. She caught the attention of national celebrity Mary Berg, appearing on her TV show, The Good Stuff.
Okay, so that is a lot of donation.
Her own several minutes of fame, motivating other students and teachers to join the cause.
I just think it's a really big accomplishment.
She's just a really inspiring person in general, and I love that she's trying to help somebody in our class too.
I think it's a wonderful thing. Brooke has proven to be a very authentic person in everything that she does.
For Brooke, she has faith that fundraisers can help with a cure.
Hopefully doctors can find a cure for cancer.
And those that see her daily say there's no limit to what she can achieve.
Not only does she raise all this money for cancer research and for kids with cancer, but she's like a volleyball player, a swimmer, a good student, and she's a kind human.
A young girl giving the gift of hope while motivating others along the way.
It's honestly very fun to have bake sales and fundraisers, and I feel like that if I keep donating money to cancer, then other people will.
Peter Sperling, CTV News.
And that's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.